This week well appreciate the week that prop proposals to be engaged young-aged and agendas used to deploy the deprecation of deprived that arrive by the asylum and refused refugee at coming of homies without homes is contradictories and contracts complete the complications in company to be compelled and seek the seers that can be used as a lighthouse lightweight and patient the door that shuts before them low-key pissed off of bathrooms that are dirty and worth the value that was bargains in the bar you gave you the spirits that inspired. It's no sweat and perspire to deodorant and neonecticides to penalize the penal gland. The third idea or example that exempts the temptation to challenge rising temperatures and temperamental psychological warfare that can't afford the effort that forfeit the purpose and put forefathers in vain. The blood that blew the color lines and crossed fade the lines they crossed the light from Christ to dim and fall for complaining of earthquakes and pressures they provide that promote the vocalist to sing and serenade what's going without surrendering the serenades to soar and sound party out. The outcomes come out the dark too late to adjust the pupils to the pulpit and feed the doubt and take offering and dim deck a debate to defend and shift to shape exorcism to sample exempt and example exercise freedom of choice and left the rights to be given and forgiveness to be for the fortunate and fortitude that will give up their forfeit and feed for actions that complain to companies that are invited by the lonesome and seer that lost sight found the way and the way out invisible and way out the beckons the beliefs. I reconsider the recollection as a conundrum to beat on and be better before being beat the comes to contrary and continue the conversation to be considered conniving and no wrongdoing and yet cynical that seemed I've seen since I'm seer not cited line as a no idea to be concluded in the end and dearly departed and deprived to deprecate the alternative and decorate alterations the allegations and allegiance to all right and arrive the almost to be almighty and posing that find the possible not easy to be obtained and overcome obstacles to be obsolete hunger to eat away the obvious obese and encourage those who eat white to have beef with them who chew the meat at the destination we're destined to meet marriages the mire the merits and inherent that find the mortgage to the mortuary or monthly periods that are happening and happy as gay rights are taken to the street to stress the amateur that call himself a protester and the Protestant that confess the confrontation to con the Confederate raids that pay respect to lies that use words and power to charge them to debt to deal with the dates they make arrangements to pay is the payback we came from to banks to file bankruptcy that disputed and disrupt the occupiers that swindled the swine to sweep you off your feet and make clean get away to a vacation to advocate the tarring of tarot and terror to cloud the terrain to amounts of drought to drown the smiles to piles of shit that toilet the tolls in voting seasons the flavor that never seems to come from this seems to simplify a complete chaos and chit-chat to Chi-Ching the Asian culture to disasters and relief the relish that dogs the dogma to Dalmatian and tally the Dalai Lama to be drama and the impertinent period to be comma and calm the turnip to rose from concrete and greens that turnip the world to flower the seed to be soil the roots to not be included in equations of equality or equivalent rights prevalent to wrongs and left to die like stains that paint the heartbreak and break out the pores that pour out those who face the oil in the pupils that pop out at you in the mirrors that we hate to doubt the beauty and holding on to the regrets and get realigned and designing to must be a sign of the times that can't tell, times that watch it all go down and not down for the cause of the effect that it gave to be given away for genders and the agendas not agreed upon but taken to be the amount of greed and grief that idolized the idol and ideas to be the past history and thought about taken but not to be taken serious. The energies that siring the serious that silent stereotypes become serious radio for radicals. That radiation of illuminated the aluminum to foil the spark of light and bullying the bulbs that build the bubbles to build sight to destruction of Babylon and new construction sites to employ the many of man that manipulate the mass, the massive infrastructure, that infantry, the infant that influence the infrared lights that darken the sight to inferior infinite infestation of infidelities that Castro won't put up without or with or words to fit the mouth and sound the eardrums of nearsighted who see no wrongs, ringing of the white towels hanging from towers and towering towards towns, that cars that get towed and they were told that would be the fate to feel the fiends that mourn everyone and every day mourn the moans of morons in money they can count on and add fees to feelings and feline the lies that men say to many who manifestation of their doubts and debt that are debated to rebates they commend to darken the happy dudes if closets they come out and tail the comeback of comets that rock the sky to right the rights of stars that mistaken for propaganda and meteors and meteorite and citations that meter materials that materialize the fabric of reading of what people sow to see them for rights left to be wrongly placed and complacent advocates, the advertisers that are adjacent to hell and whose heaven sent to deliver the message that are the weak of the muscles to be massaged and told to mess of misogynist and mismerited or that dispersed and misinterpreted interpretations that reparation needed to restore the shelves they laughing stock on and stack up the price you paid to chase the paper to banks that are even named after savings of checks cashed to catch you paying respect under consideration of pressure of the president that states the divided states to mind to mend the amendments to state of minds that can't speak state claims to state farmers who cultivate the peace a piece of paper to apply the approach of apologies to be intentional or logical and layered to virgin version of verge and venture the vengeance.
Behold that supply marketed on the scheme. This be the cry to the full fulfillment for the dream. Complaining for your earthquakes and your pressures they provide. Provoking the vocalists to sing your serenade for what's dope without surrendering into this surrender, your sort of. Finding solar outcomes. Dart to the light and the move for the just pupils. The pulpit to feed the dog with this to take offering. I am not to get the depth of the date for the debate for the defend the after shift the shape, the exorcism for the sample, the example, the exercise, the freedom of choice, the left, the rights to be given for the forgiveness to be the fortunate, fortitude that would give up your family. That for the invisible way of respecting your beliefs, and I consider that for the knowing recollections, considering the conniving, no wrongdoing yet cynical, even if never sense the serious and not cited for the blindness, no idea for to be concluded for the end of the dearly departed for the deprived that to appreciate, for the alternative for the that can make the possibility for the not the easy to obtain to overcome the obstacles that lead to obsolete hundreds to eat away the obvious and obese that to meet the merits of the mirror for the merits, inherit that to find the mortgage in the mortuary. Monthly periods that are only happening for the happy escape rights to take you to the streets, the stress, that for the steer, for the calm of yourself, for the protester, for the Protestant. Confess the confrontation, the confederate, for the raid, to pay the fine and respect. Lying to those who use the words to find the banks, to find the bank, rusty for the desperate, for the disrupt, for that for the occupying, the spindle for the swine, to keep you speak you off your feet for the seams and after the come to the seams. Simply get up for the complete chaos and chit and chat and cheat. That will find the age codes for the impertinent for the period to be common for the calm to turn up the roads for the concrete for the grease and turn up with the world. And after flower the seeds and soil the roots. Be included for the equations and equality. Equivalent for the rights and the prevalent for the wrongs and the purpose to pop up your mirrors. That will be hate to the doubt that the feeling, the beauty for the holding on to the regrets and that was to realign. The signage to be a sign in times you can't tell for time to watch it all go down but not going and going and calling through the laws and the facts to give it away for the genders and the genders and not agreed upon but taken and not to be serious. Energy theory, serious and not the science and stereotypes become serious radio for the radicals. Radiation illuminated for the aluminum, the foil, the spark, the light for the bullying, for the wolves, and the building, the flood, the sites, the destruction for the Babylon, the construction sites, and employ yourself for the mini-man for the manipulate, massive infrastructure for the infantry, for the influence, and all your infrared lights and darken the sight for the inferior infinite. God be the glory, worthy to be the praise. We went to be raised and upraised, the value, currency, current. Present reality for the reflection, delight, and realizations in nations. Lost and segregated for the bodies of water and the islands of the sense of breath to breathe. Was bred to find and eat, for the thought, for the water, for the drought broadened, begotten, seeding, soil rotten. Brought to enlightenment, meant to shine, Illuminati to be illuminated. Emancipated for the gender to steady sovereign state. No fishing for compliments rather than no bait. To fate the selfish prophets, oppose the shadows of prophets. With those most high, for not higher than those to lower expectations. Destination of destiny designed to destitute the statutes of sacred sanctuaries. Transparency transpired, deprived of gain to obtain the blessings in vain for the blood for the lamb. Don't stain the pain for power of the strength to adversity. Overseas university to converse philosophies to sophomores to those who last graduates. Substitutes to advocate the cancer contracts. Contrast the dark, the love forgotten, the arc to drive the yet ambitious in parks. The gas that sparks the fume, the line of age, the lineage that page, the chapter from chapped lips to read out loud for the read, the rare prayer phrase in red sentences. Sentiments inscribed, the scribbles and scribes that like walls of rise a seatbelt for the pride. Scribbled to rippling miracles, of course to the cold, to the Morse, the ports, the voice to distort. Power for the upborder, for the clutter that should have hoarded the defense. Without borders and orders, the false gods and ordinance. Who knows about the bout to the battle, the bout to doubt, the round order, the coordinates of the riddles and the riddles of the beat conundrums and outcomes that come out the slums, the volley of the dumbfounding, forgetting the experience of the compromising. Integrity missing, mission statements to uphold, notes to notarize, nobility for the baptism and baptized, with symbolism for the self-reflection and realization in the Zion. Irony table, the elements of the fans of those who find elementary squatters and infantry, infants and fans that fall short for this trying. Lying and learning to leaning upon your kickstands and kickstart the execution to end and never begin to be gone. Like the move that your father bothered to became. Coming out of the Messiah for not messing his trauma, not used to but used to excuse the excusations and accusations of riding routes or routes. The rave avenues, the revenue, renewal, review, repealed. Revealed, the revolution evolved, revolves around evil, revamp, suck blood, that mosquito, the camp, that energy you amp, without the power that you will be. No ramp, no pause, no post, no pondering, no posterior for the stamp to tame the lame, the man to lean with the beef, the cattle, the afro for the Negro cars to burn the bridges like carbohydrates, hate to rate the bar, the bear to stand, ground to bear, the bombarded, barter system for the patriarchy, the missing mark sent by the cumulant. Such redundancy is targeted cumulative to the word for the coming delayed appears the cycles, the ministerial cycles, the cycle, dichotomies, dictates, taints, and karmic constantly. Constellations, galaxies, to pharmaceuticals, to the Lone Star companies. Pantry panic to society, the fear of sobriety, so isolated for the communities that we shape to be. Bend the backs to ancestry, decency for the senses, truth, the scenery. Seer to seek the sense of those seas, the shoreline philosophies. Tropical trophies. Shine you dim to humidity for the humid breath that you could breathe, the hypocrisy, the hyper, the where for the question where it was placed before the word became the thought for the power that was given for the thought for the broth for the forefathers and feathers that soar. Sorry to salt wings. Grounded the spread of liberty for the sounding and profound enough lucky. And to anybody who ever found it or what beauty was lost beyond the winds of heaven. When the garden like Latino stereotypes are harnessed device into karmic councils and to get some beef inside the heart for you ride for the wave of goodbye to instead of the good to buy the currencies. Steady to stay good into the will for the Christ and rise like rose from concrete cemetery for commercials commentary. Contrary to the rare circumstances that circumcise the circumference of the pods. Slice to the evil, the eye, the storm that gave you peace. To do the least amount of proportion, cater to the caretakers that robbed you carefully, well, awareness and you were real. Practicing the sacrament for the offering and married off for the ring that will wed the union to finite. Not infidelity for the who speak the spell, for speaking spoke to hell, the spawns. Spread dogs to the dawn, the shadow to seek to meet the million that week meal. They feed the prayer that pray, that weekend, Shortened to the knee to high knees and Negro to speak the dialect to live the dialogues of life. No reading scribes of the secret societies and secretive of the wings that stood the undefeated for the wind for the detective wonder described the book of written with the only wrote the rights to read the sin wrongdoing shortcomings and salvation salvage love rescue seeking asylum for the assaults salt the earth that was aside for the systems associated with the substance that dance into the moonlight fire of the rhythmic fusion bursting energy environment spontaneous combustion with the decoded combination to sum up your conglomerate Anglo-Saxon, the hate they ate the wolf with the blue eyes that sacrificed to fate. Wait the burdens of temples to wait in line for the first date, for the chronological order, for the process of carbon, for the quantum fits to projectile evaporate entanglements. To be its motivation to moisturize phase, to relax, to the curl, the reef, the referee, to references, to dense us, to vast, to connections, to gates, defenses, and offer to offensive for the officials, offbeat matronomes, homes to evictive, vindictive. People there are not being treated as though they are to be, for as they are the star, for the stairs into the stardom, for the fame that fumes, the familiarity for the families and famished to fantasy, eliminated for the imagination, the park, the ambition for the ignitions or the ignite, renditions are rendered the tender hearted for the has been departed for the ways of seeing self, and those who parted the seas that Moses dealt with the faith, not just to believe in, but to know like doubts, and you will know you to see, but patch over the instead of the eyes and me, whatever happened to the we that lead the eyes to love you found to me, the way to be and receive to conviction to conceive, be live.
feel us all.